Well, Eddie, good to see you here in New York. Some breaking news straight off the bat. We've just won the purse bid for Jaron Ennis' mandatory fight against Cody Crowley.
Yeah, over the moon. As we know, when we signed Boots, he had this mandatory to take care of. There's been a month of negotiation previously. Purse bids were finally called, and we won it. Won the big purse bid today. So bringing Boots home to Philadelphia, massive show incoming for Jaron Ennis in Philadelphia in July. Time to bring this superstar home to his home city. And there'll be an announcement very soon about the venue, the confirmed date, and absolutely over the moon to deliver that for Jaron.
And what a week or two publicity-wise for Jaron. I mean, his name and face was everywhere last week.
Yeah, I mean, since he signed with us already in 2 weeks, his name value, his profile has just gone through the roof, and he deserves it. You know, as I said to you, pound for pound talent, and we've got massive plans for Jaron Ennis. Get this mandatory done, try and move straight into unifications. And of course, I mean, you know, we've got to see if Terence Crawford comes for his next fight yet, which we shall see. But His Excellency has plans for Terence Crawford against Jaron Ennis. Could be Israel Madrimov against Jaron Ennis, but we shall see. First things first, let's get Philadelphia rocking in July and give this superstar the homecoming he deserves.
Yeah, it's been a number of years. I think 5 years since the last fight there. How important is it to build that fan base with your guys on the street?
I mean, I just don't understand in this country that promoters don't build elite world star talent in their home cities. And Philadelphia is a fight city. You know, we haven't been there for 5-6 years, and there hasn't been any major boxing for years and years in Philadelphia. Now it's time to light this up. You're going to love the venue. You're going to love the night of boxing. We're going to get Philly rocking again with, I believe, the guy to dominate the world of boxing, and it's going to be a huge night.
Just a couple of days on from the fight at the weekend, Ryan Garcia against Devin Haney. How do you reflect on it now? It's been sort of 2 or 3 days.
It was a wild night, wasn't it? You know, I think the build-up, everything, it was just, the whole thing was crazy. And you know, I feel obviously gutted for Devin. Ryan deserves a huge amount of credit. You know, I think people keep talking about it wasn't a fair fight because of the weight. But once you accept those new terms, it's a fair fight, you know. And Ryan used his physical size advantage in the ring. I thought he boxed really well. I thought Devin boxed poorly, but you know, maybe it was just Ryan was too good on the night. And Devin's got to reflect. He's still WBC world champion, and he's got to bounce back. You know, he's a consummate professional. He's a good young man, and I know he'll hurt, and he's got to hurt at this time. You know. It's got to be painful. You mustn't sleep at night. You've got to feel the pain of defeat and come back stronger.
Is that what you said to him in the immediate aftermath backstage?
Yeah, I said, like, I think you've got to be honest in this situation. There's so many back patters in boxing. Oh, man, you're unlucky. I thought you won it. Oh, you know, you'll come again. Oh, he was too heavy. Like you just say, I said to him, I don't think you boxed well. You know, I asked him how he really made the weight. I don't know, how was his preparation? Sometimes you don't know this kind of thing. But for me, that wasn't the best version of Devin Haney in there, and you've got to search why it wasn't. You've also got to give Ryan Garcia credit. Box well, powerful, heavy hands. And you know, you've got to lick your wounds and you've got to come back stronger.
You mentioned Devin is still the WBC world champion. Do you think the mandatory fight with Sandor is next?
Yeah, I think, you know, before, if he would have run through Ryan Garcia, people would have been saying the Sandor-Martin fight might be a little bit of an irrelevant fight. Now it's actually quite a tough fight to come back in. I mean, I think he arguably beat Teofimo Lopez. You saw him beat Mikey Garcia. It's a tough fight, but I think that could be a good fight for Devin to come back to and defend that WBC world title.
And the rematch with Ryan's always going to be there.
That's a big fight. And you know, Devin will have to decide in time how long he stays at 140. You know, I thought moving to 140 would be great because of how hard it was at 135, but now it looks like it might be tough at 140. So the rematch with Ryan at any weight, I'm sure, is one that he would jump at.
And that clip of you with Henry after the fight went viral. I think the last count was over 20 million views on all platforms.
Yeah, don't mug me off, Scott. I think
Is it more than
86 million or something
Apologies.
like that. But
I think it just shows though boxing is an emotional sport.
But also boxing is it's an electric sport. You know, it's an excitement game. It's just, you know, the things that you don't see. I mean, I've had that dozens of times, but it just so happens that Lewis was there with a camera to get it, and people love that stuff. Like, and I don't blame Henry Garcia. I mean, I know I said I accept his apology. It was nice of him to apologise, but it's his son. But if you look back at what I said in the build-up, I never disrespected Ryan. I just said Devin will win. People was asking me all the time about Ryan's behaviour, and I just said it's uncharacteristic, but we don't know him. And I didn't think he'd win. And when you pick that way and it goes the other way, you have to hold your hands up and say I was wrong. But actually, just before Henry came over, I was saying huge respect to Ryan. Congratulations on a great performance. And that's what you have to do in victory. You give them the credit and the respect. And yeah, it's his son at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
you know, I would probably do the same.
And you're still in New York. Big press conference tomorrow. We won't say too much, but what can you tell the fans at this stage?
Just a show that is going to blow your mind. I mean, you know, a brilliant main event, and I think the best card you've ever seen in this country. There's been so much work over the last 48 hours, a lot of these fights have got made. You know, a huge culmination once again of the leading promoters in the world to work together to deliver just a stunning night of boxing for Riyadh season. You're gonna absolutely love what you see.
That is Wednesday at midday here in New York, 9 a.m. PT and 5 p.m. back home in the UK. One thing we do know from the card, His Excellency is obviously involved. How impressed have you been with the vision of Turki Al-Sheikh since, I guess, the first time you met him to now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I never expected to be part of a Riyadh season card in America. And this is a new development to his vision. You know, of course, we've seen some of the best cards we've ever seen in the history of the sport taking place in Riyadh. And now his plan leading into Riyadh season is to create these huge events around the world. You know, one, of course, in Los Angeles, one potentially at Wembley in September, of these Riyadh season events that, you know, again, his vision of the cards, you'll see tomorrow. Like, no one could put a night on like this, ever. Every fight is a main event fight. And like I said, I think the best card we've ever seen. And, you know, it's an amazing opportunity for promoters to work on these events outside of Saudi Arabia. And that's where I think he's showing his true vision as a fight fan. You know, he knows that a lot of people are saying, US fight fans and UK fight fans, why can't we see these fights in the UK? Or why can't we see them in the US? Now you are. And August 3rd is going to be a night that will blow your mind.
And a tweet that blew our minds last week was from His Excellency as well, with a picture of Anthony Joshua, and he clearly simply said, we're waiting for the winner of Usyk and Fury. That pretty much says it all, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's asking what's next for AJ, but we've got a major fight coming up in Riyadh. You know, the undisputed heavyweight world championship, Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk. Let's see. You know, we know they have a 2-fight deal. Anything can happen in boxing, anything. So as His Excellency says, we wait on that fight and then we'll plan the next move.
Do you think AJ will go out and be ringside for that one?
It's not really his style, but quite possibly.
We had last week press conference to launch Bivol Beterbiev. I mean, June the 1st, talking about big cards that we're set to unveil tomorrow, but this one on June the 1st is a monster as well.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I talk about August 3rd, June 1st right up there. I think, you know, I think this is the best card we've seen in America. June 1st might be one of the best we've seen in boxing. Bivol Beterbiev, I think, probably the best fight in boxing right now to be made, the undisputed 175-pound matchup. And what about the 5v5? Everyone's talking about it. You know, the concept is going to evolve, the rivalry is real, it's historic, the fights are all pick 'em 50-50 matchups. And I can't wait. You know, June 1st is going to be a night to remember. And just think that, you know, you've got May the 18th and June 1st. They're within 2 weeks of each other. Again, you know, the boxing is evolving at an incredible speed.
We saw the scoring system outlined for the 5 versus 5. One question I haven't seen answered yet, and it is boxing, it does happen. If an injury is sustained to one of the fighters, do you have fighters on standby in the same
weight?
weight?
You will have to replace your fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be the same fight with
absolutely,
the opponent?
same weight class, but you'll have to find a new fighter.
With so much going on, it's easy to forget. It is fight week back home in Liverpool. Peter McGrail this weekend, headlines against Mark Leach. It wasn't the main event we'd hoped for, but still an interesting fight at the top of the show.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like a local derby, really, isn't it? You know, Liverpool v Salford, Manchester, and a really good fight. You know, Pete McGrail is kind of fighting for his career, I guess, after that devastating knockout to Jericho Quinn in America. Was controlling the fight, dropped Quinn and walked on to a huge shot. It's a tough fight against Mark Leach. You know, it's a final eliminator for the British title. It's a really difficult fight. Mark Leach has been in the deep end with some very good fighters. Going to be a great crowd in there as well, and it's absolute must-win for Peter McGrail. I think if he bounces back, we need to throw him straight in the deep end because I think this man is an incredible talent.
And could that be against O'Quinn?
Possibly, yeah. You know, we know he had some personal problems, couldn't make the fight, but we won't be waiting around for him. But we would like to definitely put that one right.
World title action on the card. Bia Ferreira looks to win in just her 5th fight, the world title.
Beatrice Ferreira, pound for pound, one of the most exciting fighters in women's boxing. You know, we wanted to make that Caroline Dubois fight. Their team decided they didn't want to take that fight. Maybe that's one for the future. it's her chance to become world champion, and just in a couple of months she looks to try and become Olympic champion as well, former silver medalist, 2-time world amateur champion. So exciting that the UK fans are going to love watching Beatrice on Saturday.
And just finally, our last show in Manchester, Josh Warrington, Leigh Wood ringside, had a little scuffle I see online. Any news about potential rematch there?
No, not yet. I mean, we need to plan fights for both those guys if it's not each other. There's a lot of conversations going on at the moment, and it will come to a head in due course.
Eddie, thanks for your time, and yeah, we'll look forward to the presser tomorrow.
Cheers.